Good morning, folks, and also good afternoon. Previously, we have elaborated, I have given you some kind of elaboration about the California gold rush. And today's discussion, it is uh, more likely related to the previous discussion because today we are going to talk about American industrialization or industrial revolution in the United States of America. So, when we talk about industrial revolutions, something that comes in our mind, it must be related with the establishment or the invention of machinery. Yes, exactly. When we talk about industrial revolution, it is much more related with the machines. Okay, so now we are talking within the context of 19th century in the United States, where at that time people still produced everything by hands. And because of this invention of so much or so many machines or machineries in the USA, this also has changed how American produce the goods in order to fulfill their basic needs and also in order to supply goods or also to produce goods. So, in this industrial revolution, the machines have eventually changed the methods of production. So, everything becomes cheaper and then everything becomes quicker in terms of production. So, at that time, America grew to be one of the most industrialized nation, one of the most industrialized nation, I underlined, in the world, because most of the machines that were invented uh, happened or invented in the USA. And when we talk about industrial revolution, we are talking about the mass production. So mass production that made everything quick and cheap, that you have to remember. Okay, and then talking about industrial revolution in the USA, we will talk about many important inventions such as cotton gins. Yeah, cotton gins is actually one of the most important invention during industrial revolution because of the invention of the cotton gin, which is invented by Ellie Whitney. So to produce clothes like this is becoming cheaper and faster. And also Elias Hoyes, which is the inventor of sewing machines. And also, you have ever heard about Alexander Graham Bell, who invented the telephone. Okay, so at the time, people found the quickest, the easiest way to send messages. So if you still remember about the Pony Express before in the California Gold Rush, when someone wanted to send one letter, it took 2 weeks because they used a horse in order to deliver the letter or the package. But after the invention of telephone, which is invented by Alexander Graham Bell, everything is easier, everything is quicker. And then, talking about industrial revolution, we are talking about Thomas Alpha Edison, which invented the phonograph and, of course, the electric light. Yes. So everything becomes easier, everything becomes faster, everything becomes more convenient for Americans at the time. Okay, and this industrial revolution is affecting many big cities. Yeah, many big cities, and many people left the farms. Remember, at that time, people were still working in the farms, in the plantation, and because of this industrial revolution, people changed their job. People moved from the rural to the urban areas, from the village to the city. So mostly they were working in the factories in big cities after the Industrial Revolution happened, and these big cities became large markets for factory made products, yeah, for the factory made products. And of course, there is a regulation, there is a law in order to regulate this kind of phenomena. So the federal government help industry. Yes. How does it help? How did it help the industry? Is by um, passing uh, high tariffs. Yeah, passing the high tariffs or taxes to keep out foreign products and supported the free exchange of goods among the states. So basically, they imposed or they applied very high tax to the goods from other countries. For example, the United Kingdom, or from Canada, or from France, or from Germany. They put the very high tax in order to support the local products. So mostly those products, for example, New York is very common with cotton, and then New York wanted to export the cotton or the clothes within the United States, let's say to the state of Illinois, and then the government, the federal government, they got some kind of rule to lower the tax, while the same clothes which is coming from other countries will be imposed a higher tax. So that's one of the tricks for the governments, one of the ways for the governments to support the local goods. So that's about the Industrial Revolution, and uh, the Industrial Revolution also came with the time of Reconstruction in the United States of America. And of course, why we call this Reconstruction? Because before we have discussed about the Civil War, which destroyed many lives, which destroyed many places, which destroyed every aspect of life in the United States because it took many tolls. And there were many sectors, many people affected by this civil war. And the period of Reconstruction was from 1865, remember, 1865 until 1877. Okay, sorry, that's the period of Reconstruction, rebuilding the nation of the United States of America. And during this time, Republicans of the North, which was the ruling party at that time, helped or assisted ex-slaves with or by providing them housing. So eventually, the Republican Party, who was ruling at that time, assisted or gave an aid for ex-slaves to have their own houses, and then they also given the rights to education and also food, particularly. So in this time, the Congress passed 3 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. So if we talk about the constitutions, there must be laws that need to be revised, laws that need to be changed. That's what we call as amendments. Okay, in the U.S. Constitution, or in Indonesia, Undang-Undang Dasar. Okay, first is amendment number 13, which stated about ending the slavery. Yeah, amendment number 13 states about ending the slavery in the United States. And then there was also amendment 14, which made all these ex-slaves become the citizens, the legal citizens of the United States of America. And the last one is amendment number 15, which gave black people, ex-slaves, the right to vote. So basically those slaves who were before tortured, who were before very suffered by the vicious treatment of their masters, now at that time, had been given the same rights, just like every other citizens in America, by the Amendment 13, 14, and 15. So basically, from 1865 to 1877, there were three changes of U.S. Constitution, which we call as amendment. Amendment number 13, Amendment number 14, and Amendment number 15. Amendment number 13, remember, it stated about to put an end of slavery system. Amendment number 14, to make all the ex-slaves becoming the U.S. citizens. And Amendment number 15, to give all ex-slaves, the black people, the right to vote. Okay. So, in this kind of time of reconstruction as well, the North, if you still remember about the Civil War, the North was actually called as the Union, while the South is called as the Confederation. Okay, the Union won the war, so that's why they became the ruling party at that time. So they wanted to punish the South, the Confederation state. So they established military government in the southern states. Okay, so the former southern leaders could not hold political office. So basically, those who involved in the war, particularly for those who were ex-members of the Confederate army or soldiers, they were not allowed to join any political party or to rule any areas in the United States of America. And because few white Southerners believed that blacks were equal to white, so they opposed this amendment, these new laws. They still believe that these ex-slaves, these black people, were not in the same level with them because they have fair skin color and they were basically masters. They had everything to, to regulate everything to these black people, to these slaves. So they felt like we were not in the same level with the black people. So most of the Southerners, those who were joined in the Confederate States, mostly they did not agree with this kind of amendment. And they also, but they also acknowledged, that these black people, the ex-slaves, can have the same political rights. Yeah, even though they didn't believe they were in the same level, but somehow they acknowledged that okay, you can vote. That's what everyone does in this country. So because you were here, also can have the right to vote. Although these differences, despite all of the differences, at the end, eventually, the United States became one nation again after the Civil War. Okay, I think that's all for today's online lecture. I hope you can do the assignments in your American Studies book, page 64 and page 65. Please do module 4F, page 64A, yeah, the A part, and page 65, part D, okay, part D. Thank you so much for today. Still remember, and always remember, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you when I see you. Thank you so much.